Hey guys, some stupid sketch show guy here with another video, and today's video is going to be about 3 new dinosaur toy shows. Yep, it's that plain and simple. 3 new Dinotube Series that I feel like people should consider watching, and also just my personal review. This could become a little series, but for now let's just focus on the pilot episode, shall we? Let's start with the first of the 3 Dinotube shows that piqued my interest. A pilot, done by Spacekid Productions. The Stone of Courage. And out of the gate, this one definitely has the best title of them all. When I was talking about this show with Adonis Rex 01, he was like, ooh, that's a good title. But like in British, so like I could barely understand it. But now onto the show. It currently only has 1 episode, but the episode is full of potential, and of course, some room for improvement. Out of the shows I'm going to be talking about, this is the only one to feature talking dinosaurs, and thus, in my opinion, has a more interesting plot. Basically, a raptor wanders around until they pass out, then they get picked up by a Skyromimus and led to a barren town. And after meeting some new friends, we have a mild cliffhanger at the end where a Dimorphodon appears with intent to kill the raptor, leaving us with something to look forward to for episode 2. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that synopsis didn't really take very long because the episode itself is only about 6.5 minutes long, which I think is to the show's favor because sometimes short and sweet is a lot funner to watch. In general, this show doesn't seem to be striving to be the next big thing, and instead is simply just trying to be a good show with 4 episodes that are about 6 to 7 minutes long, according to the creator, and you know what? I respect that. Not everyone has to be a world breaker, sometimes you just want to make a good show. And currently, this show definitely does have the makings of it, but could be improved in some ways. But for now, let's talk about the stuff I really like. The best part about the show is most definitely the backgrounds and the landscapes. They just look spectacular, and the high quality camera makes sure that you pick up all of it. It's most definitely a very visually striking and pretty show, with plenty of bold colors, and even the colors of the dinosaurs really helping bringing out the backgrounds. However, I feel other parts of the show could be significantly improved. The puppeting is not bad, actually avoiding one of the most common problems in Dinotube shows, which is floaty figures. The figures actually stay relatively grounded, it's just that their movements are a bit stilted. And sometimes the placements of the figures, especially with the raptor, don't look very good. Like, how is this thing walking? As well as that, the voice acting and the characters are just okay, although I will give it some slack because it is only the pilot episode, so these characters haven't had a chance to be fully developed yet, but for now we got a bunch of basic characters. You got the protagonist, you got the yappy sidekick, and you got the old guy. A couple of basic characters, all voiced by the creator of the show, so they don't have a lot of major individuality in their voices, but I'll let the rest of the episodes play out before I make my final judgment on the characters. As a pilot though, this is definitely a great start, and things could only go up from here. Next we got the DI type shows, which surprisingly enough, they still exist, and in fact, people eat it up. With both series that I'll be talking about in this particular video having individual episodes with over 1,000 views apiece. And there still are more to talk about, such as Our Ancient Past by Prehistory Oversimplified, which, if I make another 3 Dinosaur Series video, I'll definitely cover that one. But for now, I'll be talking about Our Ancient Past's little brother, Prehistorica by Jurassic Hobby. Right off the bat, I'll definitely say that episode 1 and episode 2 feel completely different because the show is still trying to figure itself out, and I won't fault it for that because it's just 2 episodes. Those first couple of episodes are for figuring yourself out, and if you're dedicated enough, you can find something that really works. It's just that most Dinotubers don't get to that point. So I really hope Jurassic Hobby keeps on persisting, because from episode 1 to episode 2, a lot of things are significantly different, which also means improvements. Episode 1 has an average sound design and average musical score, as well as some alright filming, but it also has some pretty egregious errors, such as inconsistent aspect ratios, which is a bit jarring. But in episode 2, this is all rectified, as well as subtle improvements to sound design and framing. From episode 1 to episode 2, Prehistorica goes from a slightly below average Dinotube show to a just average Dinotube show. The puppetry is alright, but it definitely does suffer a lot from floatitis, with tons of dinosaurs just having almost all their limbs in the air except for one, giving the dinosaurs no real weight. The sound effects and the music chosen for this show are par for the course, and you know what, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No real major flaws in that category, just typical Dinosaur Island type show music. And if there's one last thing to mention, and the reason why I frequently keep on bringing up Our Ancient Past, it's because Prehistorica episode 2 brings in a new flaw that the original pilot episode did not have: its identity. Episode 2 is 3 times longer than Episode 1, which some might say is a good thing because more content, but a lot of that content is just cutaways featuring prehistory oversimplified. And I get what they're trying to do with these fact files, trying to turn this show into something more educational, but in execution it turns the episode into unintentional comedy gold. Mainly thanks to the fact that it's just so unexpected. At one point, you're just seeing a Dilophosaurus and a Spinosaurus minding their own businesses in a swamp, and then boom, it's a ginger kid! And even though the actual facts being told in the show are actually decently informative, that unexpectedness just makes everything else hard to take seriously, even though they're trying to just tell you something cool about dinosaurs. It's also really funny when you remove context.
Spinosaurus lived alongside the Nazis. The first fossils of Spinosaurus were discovered by German paleontologist Adolf Hitler.
Which, while I definitely did enjoy what was being on screen, it was probably not for the reasons that they wanted. And it adds a new problem because these cutaways are nearly identical to the ones in Our Ancient Past, which is where the identity issue comes in. Because it basically just turns itself into Our Ancient Past 2 Electric Boogaloo. In short, fact files are a good idea, but make sure to do it in your own way. Prehistorica definitely has potential to become a pretty good Dinotube show, but it just needs to work out the wrinkles first. Just keep on trying, Jurassic Hobby, it'll reward you greatly. And then last, but certainly not least, we got the show with the most episodes and the most views, Saurian Isle by Ouranosaurian. Unlike the other 2 shows, which only consist of about 1 or 2 episodes, this one is a bit more developed, with 5 episodes, and the most recent episode is pushing on 5,000 views, so people really seem to like it. But is it worth all the fuss? I'd say, yeah, it's a good quality show. The soundtrack, while very cliche, gets the job done. The same can be said for the sound design. The narration is superb, with no complaints by me, as Ouranosaurian has a very nice, calming, and soothing voice, well suited for this kind of show. But I wouldn't say this show knocks it out of the park. It still is prone to the same typical weaknesses of most DI-type shows, having the same case of floaty puppetry as Prehistorica does, as well as other usual nitpicks like sometimes the sound quality for the music being a bit below quality and being a bit distracting, or in some shots it's painfully obvious that the dinosaur figure is being held many feet in the air. But besides that, there's nothing too bad. It simply decides just to do the usual DI thing of following an island separated from civilization that has somehow lasted for millions of years after the KT mass extinction, that also holds tons of prehistoric life forms which in real life are separated by hundreds of millions of years, all in one giant ecosystem living together. While this idea has been played out in many shows before it, there still are plenty of ideas that can be explored with this concept, such as how dinosaurs continued to evolve after the extinction and how they possibly changed. And the show does talk about this, but it only really scratches the surface, with dinosaurs being a little bigger than they were before, or adapting to eat certain prey. Nothing too outlandish or fantastical, just the usual routes. I'm not gonna fault it for that, but this show doesn't get bonus points for it either. This show might be good quality, but it's not very memorable if I say so myself. Like, despite binge watching all 5 episodes today in preparation for this video, I have forgotten a ton of what has happened already, with some exceptions. Like, there's one scene where a couple of tiny pachycephalosaur looking creatures get drunk off of mushrooms and then get eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That was pretty funny. Oh, and there's also Infanticide. You can't have a Dinosaur Island type show without the murder of baby dinosaurs. In summation, Saurian Isle is a good show, but not a great show. But I gotta respect and admire the creator, Ouranosaurian, for managing to get the show as far as he's already gone. 5 episodes is above average for a Dinotube show's lifespan, so I appreciate that we have a Dinotuber dedicated enough to make this show fully fledged, an actual series, not just a failed pilot. So keep on keeping on, which is the general message of this video. If these Dinotubers can go out there and make these bold, ambitious dinosaur shows, why can't we? If Dinotube is truly dead, then why do we have these young, ambitious creators who want to make shows with dinosaur toys? I'm some stupid sketch show guy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.